How's it going, guys? Derek Ifasi here. Today's topic, I want to discuss in full details the differences between annuities versus IRAs. And this is a large misconception that we get, a ton into the office with individuals thinking that there's a difference between these. And I'm going to explain to you what is an IRA account, a traditional IRA, the Roth IRA, what's an annuity, and then how you can place an annuity with different sorts of accounts, whether it be a non-qualified account, a traditional IRA, or a Roth IRA, and how it's just basically a product or an account that goes within that sort of IRA mechanism, and then why somebody would want to leverage that for their retirement goal, whether that be their retirement income needs, whether that be a safe accumulation need, and really delve into the most important problems and the most important mistakes that individuals make when they're trying to leverage an annuity specifically into their IRA accounts, and then what are some solutions where it might be a viable solution, viable option, and when to essentially run from the hills. So I'm going to try to give you the good, the bad, the ugly. At any point in time, if let's say something in this video has triggered you and you want to find out more information and see how you could better your situation, feel free to give our 1-800 number a call. It's going to be up on the screen. It's 1-800-566-1002. Or an easier route might be clicking on the link in the description of this video that allows you to set an appointment directly on our calendars. So that we could have a connection call and really see if there's some value that we could add to your situation, or just kind of let you know, hey, everything you're doing is perfect, and maybe not leverage, annuity, or if you have one, how to get out of it. There's a whole multitude of different things. So to go through its most basic terms, what is an IRA and then what is an annuity, and then how do you kind of mesh them together? And an IRA is a type of retirement account. So an individual could create a traditional IRA account. They could either add contributions to a traditional IRA, and that's how a traditional IRA could be created. They could create it through a rollover, meaning if, let's say, somebody had a 401k through their previous employer and they hit a certain age, or they work for a new employer and they took their old 401k and they roll it over into a traditional IRA, an individual retirement account, that was keeping it within the tax qualifications, keeping it from a pre-tax retirement account, sending it into a pre-tax retirement account. So then those are the dollars that made up that traditional IRA. So step one, you could either add contributions into a traditional IRA, create it that way. The most common is a rollover from a previous employer plan into an IRA. And then the third option would be a transfer. So let's say if you've already had an established IRA and now you want to transfer monies from your IRA into a customized type of IRA and design it a few different ways, you could transfer monies into that sort of account. So think of it in the terms of a bucket and the way and how this bucket is taxed. It's monies that you're getting a tax deduction on, or typically get a tax deduction on off of any contributions. It grows tax deferred on a traditional IRA sense. And then when it comes time to retire after age 59 and a half, when you start taking out withdrawals, you're going to be fully taxed on those monies because you never paid tax on it. So it's basically monies that are earmarked for retirement needs. So that's why it allows the power of compound interest to work in that individual's favor. Now, what could go inside of an IRA? And this is where the misconception lies. And you could leverage a slew of different things. You could leverage investments such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, money market accounts, different fixed-related products, such as insurance-related products like a fixed annuity, fixed index annuity, a hybrid annuity. You can leverage bank products, such as the money market account, like I mentioned. You could leverage it through different bank CDs. And really keeping it within that IRA chassis. There's different things you could add in there. So you might have an IRA or multiple IRAs that are staying within that tax deferred chassis, and a portion of it could be set up with annuity IRAs. Another portion could be set up with just stocks within that IRA account. Another portion could be set up with just bank CDs in that IRA, in a different type of IRA account. So you can have a multitude of different customized IRAs. You don't just have to have one IRA, and that one IRA has to be set up with mutual funds. So it's not just investments. You could go and customize in a whole slew of different ways. And really, when it comes to an IRA, an individual retirement account, it allows you to have that customization option. So instead of a 401k, as an example, that might only have about 10 to 20 different options for you to choose, an individual retirement account, an IRA, you could have 5,000 plus different options to choose, a whole multitude of options. Now, the difference between a traditional IRA versus a Roth IRA is just the way that it's taxed. So with the traditional IRA, you're placing monies in there, they grow tax deferred, so that when it comes time to fully retire and you start taking withdrawals, it'd be fully taxable. A Roth IRA, you do not have the tax deductions. The monies are going into that account. It grows tax-free within the Roth chassis. And then when it comes time to pull your monies out after 59 and a half, you can pull your dollars out tax-free. So that's the generic concept of what an IRA account is. So what exactly is an annuity account? An annuity account is essentially an insurance account. It's an account that's backed by an insurance company that someone is looking to leverage for either a lifetime income play, similar to like a pension or a personal pension plan, because maybe they're lacking specific lifetime income and they want to take that risk off of their books and say, okay, I want to take X amount of dollars, place it with an insurance company, and have them pay me back income for the rest of my life or mine and my spouse's life. So that's one way in how you could do it. And really a large portion, that's typically the way that an individual should be leveraging an annuity. Now, another route, especially regarding the interest rate environment, is an individual could leverage a safe accumulation play. So let's say if they have their dollars that are sitting in a combination of stocks and bonds, and the market's kind of all over the place and the interest rate environment's increasing, so maybe that's putting pressure on bond values and the market could be volatile as all heck. And an individual just wants to have some sort of safety, some sort of better preservation on their dollars with either fixed percentage monies, or they want to have it where they could capture when the market goes up, but not have that downside risk whenever the market goes down. And those are different sorts of annuities. But to kind of quantify it or qualify it, think about it in two separate areas. I'm going to use an annuity for either lifetime income, or I want to use an annuity for some sort of safe accumulation play to really, optimize my growth, but do it in a safe way, where I'm not going to have as large a growth as I would with throwing into the stock market because my risk is not going to be as large, but it could still serve its purpose. When it comes to the IRA conversation, you could go and create customized IRAs that are set up with annuities for a lifetime income purpose, or you could set them up for a safe accumulation type purpose and have two separate annuities. And this is a large problem, which I'll get into the problems, but the large problem is individuals try to commingle and they try to create a jack of all trades type option. So, I want to have, really good growth and I want to have really good income. And the way on how these insurance companies work is there's a lot of smoke and mirrors where there's little sweet spots that if I want to leverage it for max cash flow, max lifetime income, there's going to be a solution there. And there could be, a whole multitude, 50 different options that are the best for a lifetime income play, while 50 completely different options with different carriers could be set up for a growth related play. So do not get suckered into thinking, okay, there's, it's going to be the greatest thing ever for all these different areas. Make sure that you're maximizing each area, you're optimizing each area, for that specific need. But regarding what an annuity could be held in, it could be held in non-qualified monies, meaning cash money, savings account monies. You sold a business, you sold a house, and you have this cash sitting here, and you want that cash to at least pay you a sort of income stream for the rest of your life or yours and your spouse's life. That would be set up as a non-qualified annuity. Or an IRA, like I mentioned, you could customize it within the IRA umbrella or a Roth IRA umbrella. That's just the way on how it is taxed. The difference between non-qualified, traditional IRA versus Roth IRA is just the way that it's taxed, but you could place an annuity with all three of those areas. So what are the most common problems regarding annuities and trying to leverage annuities with IRA accounts? And the number one problem is probably not using an annuity when you should, meaning that if, let's say you have an income goal and you're nearing that retirement stage, and maybe you have $500,000 that's been accumulated in your IRA account or 401k that you're trying to roll it over into an IRA. And you understand that, when you retire, you're no longer going to have that occupational paycheck. So now you have to rely on your savings to try to take care of what your expenses are. In that example, individuals typically fall victim to something known as reverse dollar cost averaging, where they'll try to take monies from an account that's meant for an accumulation play, as opposed to going into something that should be a preservation and distribution strategy. What could maximize out my cash flow and make sure that I'm having an insurance, a longevity insurance, that if I keep living and living and living, I'm not going to run my well dry. So what's the smallest dollars and only as much as necessary for my retirement savings that I should go place into the top annuity, the top cash flow for my specific age, for my specific state, based on the time horizon that I'm going to defer until I want to hit that ideal retirement date. So this takes understanding what your expenses are now, what your expenses are going to be at your ideal retirement date, and then ultimately, what are your cash flow? What are your income streams going to be coming to you? Are you receiving Social Security income at your retirement? What's that dollar amount going to be? How much of a divot does it put into what your expense need is? And then do you have pension income streams, which unfortunately the majority of Americans are no longer offered pension plan. So therefore you have to rely on those savings. How can you make sure to close up that gap between your Social Security and what your expenses are to make sure that you have lifetime income streams that are coming to you? And that's where an annuity can be properly used. Now, on the opposite side of the coin, individuals do shove too much money into an annuity. So maybe an individual needs $60,000 a year for income to take care of their expenses and make sure that's increasing regarding the pace of inflation. And maybe they have, $40,000 that's coming to them through different Social Security between them and their spouse. Well, then there's a $20,000 gap there. In that example, let's say somebody has a $500,000 bucket of IRA monies that's sitting there. Maybe it might only require $200,000 to place it and create a customized IRA that's within an annuity. So now they're leaving $300,000 to have as ultimately their fund accounts, as their emergency needs, as their growth related needs, as their inflation protection, as their vacation fund, and all those different things. Instead of using the full $500,000 saying, I just want to have as much income as possible. No, make sure that you're specifying it. So because there's certain restrictions with annuity accounts that you want to make sure you avoid, that you want to make sure you're not just being suckered into, these restrictions, and you're actually using it exactly as it's designed. That's something that we try to help out individuals on a daily basis. So, problem number one is not using an annuity when you should. Problem number two is using too much of an annuity when it's not needed. And really to piggyback off of that is problem number three is leveraging any sort of annuity if you don't need it. So if you're already fine with your income streams and you have more than enough pension income and Social Security income and very minimal expenses, and you just sold a house, sold a business, and you're basically swimming in all this cash, and you don't want to leverage it for safety, you don't need the extra income from it, well, then you should not be looking at an annuity. There's no reason to shove any more into an annuity than what is, mathematically appropriate. And this is where individuals get suckered into the marketing terms. And there's a lot of, excuse my language, bullshit out there when it comes to marketing terms for annuities. You'll see something with outrageous bonuses, like a 40% bonus or a roll-up rate that's giving you a 10% increase on your roll-up rate, on your income base. And be mindful that the insurance companies are not that nice. There's always some gotcha. There's always some catch. Now, some products could be very good for an individual situation, but you have to look through the smoke and mirrors. You have to look through the bullshit to say, okay, if I'm placing my dollar in here, what exactly am I getting out of it? I don't give a fuck about what these 10% roll up is. Does that actually give me more income than the second place guy, than the second place and third place option? And if that answer is yes, then yeah, then it could be appropriate for your situation. So I hope that all this makes sense. Do not get held up on the shiny object. Be mindful that that's there to trip you up, and really understand the pros and cons of these things and how to make sure that you're looking at the actual value that they're giving you. Case in point, let's say you have an annuity that's paying you, it's a MIGA, a fixed rate, and let's say you're getting paid over a 6% rate of return on a 5-year annuity as an example. Well, that 6% could be each year for the next 5 years. After 5 years, then that rate could drop down. Okay, so leverage that maybe for 5 years, as opposed to something that's giving you a 10% roll up on an income base that is meant to increase what your lifetime income amount is, and that's just a calculation. That's not actually on your physical money. Well, there's a difference there. All because you hear 10%, don't think that you won, that somebody just brought this to your attention and nobody else knows about it. These insurance companies try to do these marketing messages to trip you up, to sucker you in, because after a couple of years, once you realize what just happened, you can't get your money out without getting dinged with a surrender penalty. So once again, there's a lot of really good things about annuities, but you have to be very careful when leveraging them properly. And different solutions for this is really simplify your goals. What exactly do I need? What is my ideal retirement vision? What is my situation, my deathbed regret? Like, what would I make sure that if I'm sitting on my deathbed, I'm looking up and I'm saying, okay, this is everything that I want to do throughout my life, throughout my retirement. This is what I want to have accomplished. I want to make sure that I'm having X amount of income because it's going to allow me to do the luxuries that I've always dreamt of throughout retirement. Can I get there? Is it mathematically possible? Can I use some sort of insurance to make sure that I'm never going to outlive my money and have to go back to work when I'm in my 70s, my 80s? So what exactly are your expenses? Is your income in retirement going to be greater than or equal to your expenses? If it's not, and you have a specific income gap there, how do you close that gap? How could you make sure that you're leveraging the best possible tools to close that gap. If let's say you do have income needs but you have all this excess money and you're more risk averse and you don't want to leverage it into the market, and you're more terrified that the market could go down and the volatility is really freaking you out, and I want to preserve my monies and either get fixed rates or get some fixed index rates so I could have that preservation on that accumulation stage. Well, maybe there should be slivers of dollars you should place in to some of those safe accumulation related products. So really it comes down to what's your income goal, what's your safety goal, what's your growth goal, and then maximize your leftover bucket. Try to use the smallest dollars only as much as necessary for your income and your safety, so you have the most amount of money left over in your growth to have fun with it, to have as your splurge account, as maybe your legacy play, your inflation play, your vacation fund, whatever that is, and make sure that you're doing everything properly. And that's something that we try to help out individuals do on a daily basis. If you found value in this video, you want to speak to one of our advisors, you want to speak to myself directly, feel free to give a 1-800 number a call. It's 1-800-566-1002. You can either contact our customer service reps that way. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or an easier route would be to click on the link that's displayed in the description of this video. So you get directly on our calendar. You can give us a little note for the advisor that's going to be working with you, and really just have a 20-minute strategy session call and see if there's some different tweaks that you could make to put you in a better mathematical position, or whether you should just completely run from the hills and just make sure that you're avoiding an annuity at all cost and just stay put with what you're doing right now. And so, that's some of the different things that we try to provide is, giving you access to us, having that conversation, and then delving into, a further strategy or recommendations if it's appropriate for your situation. But I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you can have access to the most updated videos. Thanks so much, guys.